Welcome back to Spirit Squared. I'm Andrew Darrington, your host. Tonight we're here at Vault Arms downtown. Thanks so much, Blake Young, for letting us use this space. This is an incredible space for podcasts. Great volume in here, and we really appreciate them. And they're a sponsor, so we appreciate them for being a sponsor. The Humidor also, thanks so much. Rex Consulting. Hoot Holler Package Store down in Gun Barrel City. Thanks so much for being down there. If you're needing spirits for the weekend, you need to head down there. You're going to have a unique touch that you don't get in the big box stores. And then Red Construction. Thanks so much, Thomas and Martha, for being sponsors. It's because of you guys that I've been allowed to hire a media person. I'm not a media person. It would take me 2 hours for me to do what Amanda does in 15 minutes. So thank you so much for your support. And thank you for supporting our vision to do what we're doing with nonprofits and with entrepreneurs. Before I introduce my guests, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've got going on here. We've got a little bit of the Riverset rum over here on the Camp Tyler side. This is a local pick. It was Bob Marley inspired Venezuelan rum. It's very, very good, a little warm. And then I'm having a little bit of the Weller. It's one of my favorite because it's weeded and it's got a great flavor. And who doesn't like Weller, really? So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Bud Worthen, who is the president of Camp Tyler, and you donate your time to Camp Tyler.
Yes.
So that's an awesome thing. We're going to dig into a lot of what Camp Tyler does, but it's awesome that you dedicate your time to them. And then Kathy Lagasse, sorry,
Okay.
butchering names.
Kathy Lagasse.
Lagasse, right. You are
The camp director.
Camp director for Camp Tyler. So let's dig into a little bit about the history of Camp Tyler. Who wants to start?
Okay, so even though the charter began in 1945, the first group of school kids came on the camp property through the Tyler Public Schools in 1949. And so at that point, the forefathers, really a lot of the Tyler forefathers of families that have historically lived in Tyler had the vision of this happening, and they are to be commended because those families really gave funding but also blood, sweat, and tears and resources to make Camp Tyler happen for the youth in Tyler and the surrounding East Texas area.
Yeah, raising $250,000 in the late 40s. That's pretty amazing feat.
Pretty impressive. But they knew the significance. It's like they had the vision knowing that Tyler, the city, would continue to grow and that kids would become less from the farm background, more into business, out of agriculture into industry. I guess we could say that.
Yeah.
And that there would be the need to have a place where the kids could go and be outside, connect with nature, and also just experience the farm life and being out in the woods and going fishing.
Getting your hands dirty and the dirty fingernails.
Playing in the mud.
Right. Rolling in the hay, all those things.
And the neat thing is they didn't want it just for the upper crust of Tyler. They wanted it to be a place that was accessible for all kids. Yeah. And that was really an advanced vision for that time frame.
Yeah. It's an expansive property, right? I mean, it's pretty large.
We have about 350 acres.
Yeah.
We lease 100 from the city of Tyler on the waterfront.
Yeah.
We got about a mile of shoreline.
Wow.
And then we have about 250 acres behind that. We have a 40-acre forestry field that's large, old pine timber.
Right.
Really, really large pines. We have about 130 acres of hay meadows, cattle grazing. We've got a 1-acre garden where we experiment and we show the kids how things are grown and what's grown and how it works, and they dig into the pumpkins and they get their hands dirty, and Kathy can tell you a little bit about that because they call it something that I'm not really familiar with when they dig into those pumpkins, but
we call it the pumpkin guts. And
what
they're doing is they are cutting up a pumpkin. Because right now at Camp Tyler, we are showcasing our pumpkin patch event. And so it's open to any school, every school, typically anywhere from pre-K to third grade, mostly. And so one of the rotations is they go to the 1 acre garden and they cut open a pumpkin. A lot of kids only see pumpkins as jack-o'-lanterns or at Thanksgiving, grandma's pumpkin pie, right?
Or pictures of it, or a cartoon or something.
And you would be amazed at the teachers that have never seen a pumpkin growing on a vine.
They come to the classes.
Or the children.
Right, they just think it falls off, right?
That just actually gets to see a growing pumpkin in a garden.
So it's really cool because the instructors have an area that the kids and the teachers go to, and they cut open the pumpkin, and the kids are like, "Oh, yeah!" It's like they just start pulling that stringy stuff out, and then they let the kids like feel it. Okay, I want you to feel through those pumpkin guts and see if you can find the seeds. And they talk about the life cycle. They incorporate that into the garden area. And then at the end of that particular rotation, the kids all go and they get their own little pie pumpkin that they're going to get to decorate and take home for the day. So it's all incorporated in the pricing of the pumpkin patch. And then before they get there, I have to talk about our compost. They make compost salad. So the teachers and the kids are learning like what organic matter goes into compost to make it rich, so it'll break down. And this year, Angela, she brought in a bin of earthworms as our natural decomposers, right?
Sure.
And a very important part of composting.
Yeah.
And so this past year, we had thrown last year's pumpkin guts with seeds into a big compost bin. And we had this like humongous like killer vine coming out of the compost bin, all these little
it shows the difference in an actual garden grown pumpkin and one grown in a compost bin. Because that thing in the compost bin is huge. It's probably 3 plants. There's roughly 20 pumpkins on those 3 plants, and they are thriving.
It's extremely impressive. The kids, like, they're just like amazed because this particular vine came from the just a big pile
of
leftover
seeds from last year. They just popped back up.
Whereas in the garden row, it's very manicured, and weeded, and so you get to see 2 different ways of gardening, at least. And in that gardening part, close to the garden, we have all of our petting animals: the goats, the potbelly pigs. We've got a rabbit. We've just recently got a young lady that has let us use her miniature horses. They are therapy miniature horses. So they are very, very tame. We used to go into nursing homes to tell you how well trained these little ponies are, and the kids. And they're honestly they're about that tall. That's
the kids just absolutely love all the animals. We take them to the back of the garden, and the goats have a teeter-totter and a set of stairs, and the kids are just amazed that these goats are working that teeter-totter just like kids would. Running back and forth, making it go up and down.
And what's really fun about Camp Tyler, I just have to toot our own horn, because a lot of places that you go for pumpkin patch, the kids are just seeing the animals and sticking their hand through the fence. Our kids get in with the pigs, with the goats. We collar train them so that they can hook a leash on them and walk them around the little area where they're pinned for the pumpkin patch day. So the kids are not just going by and seeing them; they're actually getting in with them, and it's just a lot. It's just tons of fun.
And we are schools, so when schools come, we have that safety factor. We're not open to the general public, so the schools are there on their own. Our gates are down there. We've got our own personnel, and so there's not any other adverse people walking around. It's just strictly
very controlled.
Very controlled, very, very controlled.
And it sounds like it's very scheduled too. So you know who's coming in and out.
It's all pre-reserved. Everything has to be pre-arranged, and so we have dedicated 5 to 6 weeks for our pumpkin patch this year. So we've just booked all but a few days.
And we've got over 1,000 kids
that'll be coming
that are coming from schools
over the next 5 weeks.
And we've got a tractor and a kid trailer, a kid hauler, where we can put them in there. They're all safe. We even handicap accessible. So
Hay rides.
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
did the
man.
whole thing.
Yeah. We tried
Sheesh.
to Tyler ride them out too. They
I hope
planted
they have
them.
a nap area too.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna.
When they go home, they're
All
ready.
the bus, all the bus.
On the bus, they
Yeah.
they're
All
ready.
the kids are like, by the time they pull out. But
Right.
this year, the facilities in Bud, they planted a maze because we wanted to add that to
Right,
the pumpkin
right.
patch
Yes,
this year.
yeah.
So they planted Sudan grass.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. You can see the scarecrows like floating over the Sudan
Sure.
grass, and the kids are go with their teachers to the different stations and do little activities.
Mm-hmm.
And then we added the bone graveyard, so it's
Yeah.
too late for the animals. And so like we have like the cow and the
It's called
horse
Too
and
Late
the
Petting
chicken.
Zoo.
Right.
And they go in though, and the animal bones, the skeletons are numbered, and the kids have to guess like what that was.
Okay.
You know, so it's just
So it's all
learning.
education.
Yeah,
You're
for sure.
learning the whole
Hands-on
time. You're
learning.
having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm not in a textbook. I'm not in
Yeah.
a desk.
You know, we don't have any cell phones.
No
out
cell
there.
phones. Right.
No
Cell phone probably didn't work out
computer,
there.
no
Computers, no
Right.
technology.
Not for that
Yeah.
program.
Yeah,
Right.
It's great.
Yeah.
And the kids really, gosh, we had a group out there Tuesday. That was our first group.
It was our opening day.
It was absolutely, and 50 parents showed up
Oh, my
along with the
goodness.
kids.
Oh wow.
We
And
were
I
overwhelmed.
think the
It was
parents
so
had
nice.
as much fun as
Oh, I can imagine.
all the kids did. We got a cow train ride. And, Kathy's the leader
I am
there.
the cow train driver.
If you get off that cow train and you're not happy, something's wrong.
Okay.
That's right.
I would have to know a little bit more about this cow train.
We have a good time. I have matching cowgirl boots that match the cow train.
Okay.
With black and white. Bud has two of his black and white steers out there.
Yeah.
And they think they're big dogs because they
Okay.
get like candy cubes.
Yeah.
Like the kids
Sure.
are like
These
cow
things
cubes.
are 1,400 pound steers.
Yeah.
And the kids are feeding them range cubes. They're
Yeah.
that tame.
Yeah.
And they love the kids. The kids love them.
Yeah.
They
For
just
sure.
feed them range
They know
cubes.
where their
Yeah.
stuff's coming from, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know where the goodies are.
Oh yeah, and those kids just get amazed at that.
And what is it? Is it a chuck wagon type deal, or is it? You said it's
Yeah,
a
we-
train.
Oh, so like on the cow train?
So our little cow train is actually 55-gallon barrels that we've converted into. We've mounted them on dollies,
Okay.
laid them down flat, and painted them like Holstein
That black
cattle,
and white.
black and
Mm-hmm.
white.
Okay.
And we pull it behind a riding mower that's had the mower deck.
Oh, okay. I see it now.
And the
Okay.
little kids, they go to a train, to a car, and they wear their cowboy hats.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of
Oh,
yeehaw.
yeah,
and
do the
little
yeehaw.
bands.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can see this now.
Yeah.
Ah, I can see
It's a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
fun.
So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of enthusiasm, and Kathy does a great job of. You know, they all have to do a little promise when they get started.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I won't stand up and I won't jump out.
They have to repeat that promise to me. I make
Yeah.
them raise their right hand.
Yeah. Here's a Bible.
Yeah. It's just generally that, you know, they have a good time. And,
Yeah.
and we've got, you know, all the ball tossing and the tire mounting.
Oh, it's so
Right.
fun. We added a big dry corn bin and the ball, like the colored ball bins too.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got like the plastic tractors and John
Oh,
Deere
yeah,
tractors
yeah.
and, you know, Caterpillar
Yeah.
tractors and
Yeah, they're used to
scoops and-
just like scooping
Yeah.
out grass,
Yeah,
and
these-
here we are. We
yeah.
got grain.
But we had some kids, they were pre-Ks, and we were like, where is Jonathan? Well, Jonathan, all you could see was the back of his head, because Jonathan had face planted, like
Yeah.
face dove into the corn, and like the kids just covered him in the corn. So
Yeah.
the
I mean,
teachers love
there's
that.
2,000 pounds of corn
Oh, I
in
can
that
imagine.
bin. And
Yeah.
we call it a sensory bin.
Right.
Because they get to
Touch it.
feel
Yeah.
And it's a
touch.
big
Smell it.
thing.
Oh, and it
Yeah.
is amazing compared to.
You mean amazing?
A sand-
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
But yeah, the kids, you know, that's what we're about.
Yeah, for sure.
You
And
know.
the best thing about it was hearing the teachers' feedback, because this particular school had never come to the pumpkin patch, and this is our third year to open it.
Yeah.
And they were like, we had gone elsewhere.
Mhm.
We couldn't go because of rising gas costs.
Right.
So we heard about you guys, and we thought we'd book in, and they said we will never go back. We will
Right.
always come to Camp Tyler's Pumpkin Patch because
Yeah.
it was just a phenomenal day, and they
Yeah.
saw so much benefit. From
It's
the
outdoor
kids.
learning. That's
Yeah.
school without walls is kind of what's
Yeah,
on you
that's
guys.
our little motto.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And we had that sugar's cane there,
Oh,
that whole
gosh.
sugar's cane and the stalks, and they were peeling it back,
Yeah.
chewing
Chewing
on it.
on it.
Yeah, learning how that
A
sweet
lot
juice
of them
comes
never
out.
had even had that. I grew up in
Right.
Louisiana.
Yeah, we did
so
too.
you know I knew
Yep.
about the cane,
Yeah.
You could buy it at the 7-Eleven.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, as you're walking by the crawfish little ditch, you saw some and you just pulled some out.
Yeah.
Maybe nobody saw you and you just pulled some back and you would have that on the way home. You know?
Yeah. And we drove, it was a 16, 17 hour trip.
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
To Baton Rouge, to LSU's research center.
Mm-hmm.
They donated the sugar cane for us. I called them and they were gracious enough to donate the sugar cane. We drove down over the trailer, cut it with weed eaters with saw blades on it and loaded it up.
Yeah. Those Cajuns aren't that bad.
No, and they were nice. And
Right.
he explained a lot of things to us about it, a lot about the growing and how it works. And so we were very appreciative that they did that. And the kids and the parents.
Mm-hmm. So it was really
parents
nice.
had never even done that.
Mm-hmm.
So Bud's wife Sunny is on the board also, and so she came and brought sorghum and then pure cane granulated sugar. So we kind of had like a little sampling. They could get like the sugar cane. We had what we call
Taste the
wood
sweetness,
sporks.
the earthiness.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
sorghum is just like no other. Like
Yeah.
no other
Right.
thing tastes
Yeah.
like sorghum.
And it's really, I mean, you got the sugar cane, so they could chew on the sugar cane, taste the sweetness of the juice from the real deal.
Right.
And then the sugar was cane sugar.
Right.
So it was real cane sugar. And then the sorghum is just a byproduct after they've extracted the sugar. That's what's left. And it's just turned into a syrup.
Right.
It's absolutely delicious. And
Yeah.
so many
It's
people
thick.
have never
Wonderful.
gotten it. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah.
There's
Tear a
nothing
biscuit
like
on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's right. We wanted
You're right about that.
Dutch oven biscuits.
You're right about that. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of your programs that you have there. In doing some research, and I did some, I didn't do a ton, I'm just not going to lie to you, but I did a pretty good bit, a week's worth of research on some of your program that you offer there. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you guys do. The one thing that stood out probably the most on your website was the summer camp. And you guys do summer camps there, so talk to me a little bit about, I know it's in June, so it's already kind of passed for this year, but talk to me and our listeners a little bit about summer camp. What would a parent expect their kids to be doing? It's for a week, I believe.
It is.
And so talk me through kind of what the summer camp is.
Okay, so let me back just a little bit.
Okay,
So the first summer I was out there, I applied for the Texas Co-op grant, and that is through Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Okay.
And we were awarded the grant. So we partnered with Next Step, which is an entity downtown in Tyler that helps students in different schools. And then also we partnered with the Deaf Ed locally through Tyler ISD. So we targeted different need groups when we were under the grant, and the co-op allowed us to get kayaks, paddle boards.
Yes, a lot of things that we could never have gotten without this assistance. And so we were able to buy kayaks, and not just a kayak, but a bunch of them. And a lot of them were two-person kayaks so that they could be assisted for the deaf ed or for the handicapped children. You could have an assistant ride with them, and it gave them the opportunity to go on Lake Tyler. We're not talking about putting it in a little boat. On the lake. Of course, we have a big protected swimming dock. We also had buoys out for no wake, but they were actually able to get out and get on those fishing rod and
fish
reels,
equipment, gator waders. I mean, all kinds of like donors.
gator waders donated.
David and his group have been on the podcast. Really good friends of ours.
They gave us I don't know, 20 youth. I'm talking about nice insulated chest waders, not hip chest waders, but neoprene, so we could use them in the winter and the fall, which is our biggest groups. So it's just a lot of donors that always are pitching in.
We are going to talk about donors later, because that is what keeps Camp Tyler like so rich in our new equipment, and we are super blessed over having donors because they believe in the vision. So
Sure.
we're going to get back to that.
Yeah.
But so let's talk to summer day
Summer day
camp
camp.
still.
Yep.
So past that one grant where we worked with special needs and different targeted groups, we went from there. So it's a program that is growing momentum every year. So this year, you can only do like the co-op grant every other year.
Mm-hmm.
So this summer we went solo with it using the same format. And so what we did is we took it and built it into an adventure recreation camp. So we wanted kids to be able to come out and do archery and do canoeing and do paddleboarding and swimming and go hike trails and do some survivor program, like learn some basic campcraft skills out there. But then along with that, we incorporated 4 C's, and we'll talk some about that too, because that's what historically Camp Tyler program, like it all trickles through our 4 C's, which is communication, cooperation, commitment, and care. So everything we do out at Camp Tyler will always have those 4 C's ingrained through them.
Okay.
That helps us hold true to the heritage
And
that
that
we've
keeps
been
the
handed.
kids helping each other and understanding to work together. And everything at camp is about the kids being able to work together to solve a problem, regardless of what it is.
And where it is, no matter where it is on camp. So it was really neat. That's what we got to do. So we just marketed as best we could through the website, through Facebook, and through schools. And we had, was it 4 or 5 weeks of day camp?
I think maybe, well, it could have been 4 or 5, but we had a good turnout.
Yeah.
One thing that we learned as we go, just like everybody else. First time we really tried to pull this off, and it went very well. But we realized we got to open a little earlier. 9 doesn't benefit the working parent.
It was hard on the working parents to be able to get their kids arrived there. So that will be one way we expand this coming summer. It'll probably be more like
harder on you guys, maybe a little bit.
Well, we'll have to staff a different way, do some rotation staffing. But we're starting to work on that, and we'll be marketing that for this summer. So when we have day camp, we're not having residential camp, because our residential camp, that's exclusive use. And we'll talk about the summer users later, I hope.
Okay.
The residential is, what we call residential is the overnight campers.
Let's talk about that now. I mean, so you have day camp, you have overnight camp.
Yes.
So
if you are looking for a reputable builder with a proven track record and a client base to back it up, give Red Construction and Development LLC a call. Red Construction offers full design build services for new construction, custom homes, and remodeling with free site evaluations. They have an A+ rating with the BBB and are proud members of the Tyler Area Builders Association, Texas Association of Builders, National Association of Home Builders, and the Lindale Area Chamber of Commerce. Red Construction and Development LLC stands behind the exceptional quality of their work and have the expertise, the resources, and dedication to deliver the results you need on time and on budget. To learn more, give them a call at 903-630-8660 or visit them online at redconstructiondevelopment.com.
Are you looking to optimize your drilling rig operations and maximize productivity? Look no further. Rex Consulting is here to power your drilling. With over 20 years of industry experience, our expert team provides tailored solutions that drive efficiency, safety, and profitability. From site assessments to cutting-edge technology integration, Rex Consulting is your trusted partner for land-based and offshore oil and gas drilling solutions. Ready to take your rig to the next level? Contact Rex Consulting today and send your operations to the next level in operational performance. Contact Josh Simmons at 918-637-9181. Rex Consulting, level up.
day camp, this is last year, it was 9 o'clock to maybe 3 or 4.
It was 9 to 5.
9 to 5. Okay, and then
9 to 4.
9 to 4. So they're there for the same experience that the overnight campers are there for, I'm assuming?
Not quite. So for our summer residential camps, historically, Yeah, what we have done is we provide the facility,
Mhm.
we provide the lifeguards, we provide the food service, and then we provide trained staff if they want to use them for team builders, for the amazing race,
Okay.
for the low elements.
Okay.
But they come in because these are special needs groups. And I don't mind like saying, I can say with the ARC, and with Camp Haiti and Camp Kennedy, then there's
Okay.
another.
And these are
camp.
all handicapped groups that rent our camp.
And
Gotcha.
they have to have specialized trained staff. So that's why they provide
I
their own
see.
counselors,
Okay.
their own majority activities.
So they're providing their own experience, kind
Right,
of,
pretty
because
much.
it's because to do the same thing, it takes maybe an extra step or two,
Right.
right?
Of training,
Yes.
of certification.
Right, like you were talking about with the canoe. Instead of two kids jumping on a canoe and you give them
Right.
a brief thing like don't take this life jacket off. You have someone that's like, okay,
A
I'm going to
trained
be
staff.
correct. I'm going to be here, and this is what we're going to do. And by the way, this canoe is set aside for this experience,
Right,
right?
exactly.
So this is going to be for our overnight campers. So it could be a similar experience,
Right.
just done separately.
Right.
Makes sense?
Exactly.
Okay. Just
Exactly.
wanted-
So we start off the
I was hoping I was on the right track.
You are on the
Okay,
right track.
okay, got it.
You are on the Caltrain
We had
track.
a group.
Yes.
We had a group called Austin Adventures
Okay.
that came.
That sounds good.
Handicapped young adults.
Yeah.
It was amazing. They came for a whole week.
To see
Oh.
these kids
From Austin.
I mean, these are young adults that
Right.
are. Some of them are pretty severely handicapped.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Autistic, and then
Yeah.
up or
Yeah.
from there.
It
When,
was
when
so
they pull the kayaks out, every single kid wanted to get on a kayak.
Mhm.
Every one of them. Whether they could paddle, walk, or not, they wanted on that kayak. And I guess they did it.
We
just
did.
about
So what
every
we did
day.
is they also hired some of our staff for like Amazing Race.
Sure.
These young adults who have life skill challenges were in the Amazing Race, and so it's because we had extra instructors there. We got
Right.
to know the kids. We
Yeah.
hang out with them, and so
Yeah.
we go into kayaks and canoes with them, or on
Right.
the paddle boards.
Help them out.
Yeah, in
certain
addition
ways.
to the lifeguards, and then we got invited to celebrate the week with them at
Yeah.
Truvine, and it was
Oh,
a
that's
blast.
cool. Yeah.
And like they couldn't believe like our staff and our board members would come and celebrate with them. We were like,
Yeah.
"Are you kidding me? This is like the
Yeah.
best deal we've had all year. Of
Right.
course we're gonna
Yeah,
get
for
and
sure.
celebrate."
Yeah,
with
so
all
we
the
have
adventures.
it's our staff will tell you the same thing we tell you. You get so much reward
Yeah.
out of being at this camp. It wouldn't matter if you were getting paid or not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
because you just
It's
get
that much
all-
more of a
Yeah,
reward.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. For sure.
Oh.
Absolutely. So in between the residential, we have the day program, summer camps.
Yeah.
And so that allowed us to have about 4 camps outside of the residential weeks.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
it was really nice, and we'll, like we say, we've learned a lot, and we'll continue to tweak and grow and market it a little differently.
Yeah.
And so one of the things, though, I have to go back to is that a lot of the parents who sent kids this year, like their kids were not where they needed to be with the 4 C's and
Yeah.
with just because of COVID.
Yeah.
And like the me, and I'm like, like I'm getting through this COVID thing, and then now I'm expected to like blend in with 20 kids. And
Yeah.
so we were very, we built our program, we structured it to help them, like be able to pull back together
Agree,
and
agree.
learn what it means to be part of the group.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So we were very purposeful in what
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
So now we can like grow and continue to grow
Yeah.
that program. With
I know that we're like half a year away, but so what kind of, is there a waiting list? Is there a lot of rush to get my kid into a day program? And
So-
what would a parent be looking at, financially to for a week? Let's say I want my kid
we were at 300.
to. Okay,
think
it may be different next year.
Yeah.
We know that. I was just going to ask it for somebody who's listening. Just try to.
Yeah, it
that's
was-
very affordable for a week of
It was.
experience. That's
It was.
very.
And we may have to
With
adjust that
with
on
the amount of staff, yeah, that's what I was getting at. Was like if you're expanding hours,
Right.
maybe that changes a little bit, but that's pretty
It's still
affordable.
very reasonable. In Tyler, Texas,
that's
it's
probably
very
half of what somebody has to pay for child care.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of other camps, but what we have to offer,
Yeah.
most cannot compete.
Correct.
Because we're not on a parking lot. You
Right.
know, we don't bring in a bunch of
Right.
Water
Inflatables.
slides.
We are actually summer camp for the day. Like we're actually doing
these kids
summer
are painting.
camp
They're
skills.
painting
Like,
rocks. they're
Oh,
making
but I mean, I
rocks.
know camps that are charging 3 times that.
Yeah.
4 times that for a
But
week.
here they'll learn how to
Right.
set up a tent to go, learn
Yeah.
how to, what kind of campfire do you need
Right.
for XYZ,
Yeah.
Dutch oven cooking there.
Yeah.
So it's very much camping.
I sold a Dutch oven today.
Yeah.
I'm in the pawn business.
Yeah.
And I was telling this guy how to set one up. It's funny. We had one, and he was like, "Hey, what do you do?" You know, I'm like, "Dude, you can make some beans, you can do some chili, just throw it on there, and we're good to
I want
go."
to tell you, we had a group from Dallas, called Dallas International,
Okay.
second graders.
Oh,
They're
okay.
getting
They stayed a
prepared.
week. They stayed.
They stayed a week, and they're getting prepared to go to Canada as third graders.
Okay.
So they bring them to Camp Tyler,
Yeah.
and
I
we
love
do
it.
all of our program, and we're using the cast iron Dutch ovens,
Yeah.
and we're making biscuits,
Right.
and we
Oh, yeah.
cannot make enough biscuits.
Oh, listen, we were like, oh,
We
why don't we
can
enough? Because
literally-
they're going to be having scrambled eggs, they're going to be having sausage, we're going to have fruit, yogurt, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're
Parents.
probably just going to want one. Let's just do one each. Oh, no. We could have done
We-
4 each.
With some
Yeah,
sorghum.
we
on it.
just kept cooking them, and the parents, nobody had ever seen biscuits
Yeah.
cooked in a Dutch
And they were
oven.
just
Yeah.
so good.
Yes, they were
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and next year we'll have sorghum because we'll have
Yes.
cane syrup.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
That's to cook.
All right, so let's talk. We talked a little bit about summer day camp. We got the overnight piece kind of taken care of. The 4 C's was something else that I made a note of. You've already kind of brought it up. So it's pretty much integrated in everything you
It
do.
is.
It's kind of like the beacon of every program.
Right, exactly.
It is making sure that that's integrated
Yeah.
and part of, and the child, maybe the adult, experiences that part of it, a piece of
Yeah.
all of that in
Oh,
each of
yeah.
your
And
programs.
it's great to see them at the end of the week when they're
Yeah.
helping each other.
Yes.
Little kids that
So-
can't
Right.
make a walking stick, that can't run the sandpaper.
Right.
The bigger kids are chipping in.
Yes.
And they're helping out.
Yeah.
So the staff, they
Especially if
have-
they're maybe like an only child.
Exactly.
And the bigger kid's an only child and not used to sharing
Right.
or
Exactly.
helping them. And you see that growth.
Right.
So the
there.
instructors, they wear these really long, thick shoelaces. On each shoelace is like a color coordinated. So like pink beads might be communication.
Yeah.
White beads may
Yeah.
be cooperation. And so all the time the kids have these little stringers with them. And so like they'll go up and go, I just saw you help him.
Yes.
That was a wonderful example of care and cooperation. So I'm going to give you this bead, this bead.
Yes.
And the kids just
That's
like
awesome.
feed into that.
Yeah, of
so
course.
they're little string
course.
beads. And the kids
Who
can be each
doesn't want to be
other.
here? I mean,
Right. Yeah.
being from Louisiana,
That's
you gotta
right.
want bees, right?
And like this one camper, her name is Tegan, she was like, I just saw my sister care for this other little boy who fell down really well. Can I give her one of my care beads? I'm like, you sure can. And so we're teaching the kids to like notice those things.
Sharing their beads
Yeah.
with somebody else.
And they
awesome.
love that. They just
Yeah.
love it. So that is very much incorporated. And when the teachers come, like one of the biggest compliments we've gotten from a teacher review is my class came as a class, but we left as a family.
Oh,
And
that's
so
cool.
like they
Yeah.
go back, like just especially in residential.
Yeah, they probably
really
help each
bonded.
other.
And the archery and the
Yeah.
fishing are
Yeah.
such a huge part of that.
Yeah.
We have some really good stocked ponds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's catching. It's
Yeah.
not fishing. And
You're
these kids absolutely know the difference.
Oh, yeah.
And they love it.
Yeah.
And you can go and just one after
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
catching brim.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And they're,
they
they're
learn.
excited for each other.
They do the worm
Like,
charming.
Yeah.
Teach them that. They put a metal rod in the ground and they bang on it, and the earthworms come up.
Yeah.
And they catch them, and they bait their own hooks. They learn how to do
That's
that
cool.
and catch those fish, and it's just it's a great.
For somebody from Dallas, I mean, for
Oh, yeah.
sure, they probably.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Apartment-
could have,
apartment
maybe
living.
grandma or grandpa lives out in the sticks and they're showing them something like that.
But we're trying to keep that DK and Lottie Caldwell
Yeah.
and the Lindsay,
Yeah.
Judge S.A. Lindsay. We're trying to keep the passion they had
Right.
moving
That they
forward
foresaw.
of learning
Right.
the rural part
Yeah.
of living, not
Yeah,
not the
that's
city
right.
part.
There's few. I mean, I was lucky. I had grandparents that did that, and
Right, but
you know,
over
daytime brim fishing, and then or morning brim fishing, and then we ran trot lines,
Right.
and then baited with the brim, and then you would eat fish for lunch, typically.
Right, yeah.
That was caught a week before, and then you would run the trot line and brim fish the rest of the
Right.
And then you do what you just worm charming and all that good stuff. I mean, it was really fun. But at the moment, you've got a job. As a kid, you're like, I got a job. I got to catch brim. Papa said I got to catch brim.
You want to eat, you better catch the fish.
And then you're competing against grandma. You're like, she caught 4 and I caught 2. I got to catch 2 more. Catch up.
Yeah.
And then, but then, you catch one and you're sitting on a bucket and then everybody gets excited when you catch one because there's a chance you could catch a catfish with it. It's just such an awesome experience. It is awesome. All right. Texas Village, there's a lot to unpack here with the Texas Village.
Okay. But it's so really well loved. It's just got a rich heritage because it grew up with Camp Tyler growing up.
Yeah.
So very many hands have been laid there and worked. So what they do is it could be day program or it could be part of a residential experience. But the kids come and they're going to rotate in small groups through the wood right where they pick their own tree or stick and saw it down with a double saw knife and they take it to the station and they lay it on
the draw horse.
The draw horse.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that.
Yeah.
And it's so therapeutic.
And they use the draw knife.
They do. They're taught
and they shape it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the parents are like,
no,
is that sharp?
Kids?
It's like, well, yeah, look at it.
Yeah.
But they learn and they know.
Right.
And it's
And
2
the staff
handles
do
and
a
it's
really
great.
good job of teaching them the technique of how to draw the draw knives and peel the wood, and so they can choose. The teacher will choose ahead of time. Do you want it to end up being a stool where we have thick tree cookies where they can make the legs that go up in there, or they may want to make journey sticks, which is like a walking stick.
Sure.
Just from the shaping. It depends on what the teacher chooses. They dip candles. And then we have a 1-room schoolhouse, so it's back where the school marm was part of the community.
1840s, quills.
Yeah,
okay.
Nice.
They write with quill, with pen and ink, and they go and they do pioneer games. We have some big wheels that have once again the teeter-totter type thing, and they learn pioneer games. They go to the blacksmith shop, and they learn a lot about the blacksmith shop.
A lot of pictures of that.
It is a real Ford.
It has
the big bellows.
Yeah.
So we heat it up with the bellows, with the coal. It's all done right
Have
there.
the protective eye gear, and they're up there holding
They're going
the
to their bank.
Oh yeah, and they're putting in their
Making nails,
piece of rebar or some piece of metal,
Right.
making a square nail or
a
a little hook.
Yeah.
They heat it up and they learn to bend it
And they absolutely love it. And once again, we use the 4 C's and we talk about how every person in that village is so important for survival.
Yeah.
That's what makes a community. So you need to be thinking, what am I going to contribute to my generation to build up our community?
Right.
And that's what Camp Tyler was. It was a camp where you could develop who you were so that you could be a contributor for the next generation. And that's why Tyler wanted Camp Tyler. So we continue to build that into the groups that come. You have a special gift or you have a special skill that you can develop. And you're going to contribute that to build your community.
You may not be the blacksmith guy, but you may love the woodwright. You may love shading those and making a hoe handle or an axe handle or something. So it lets kids see all the different things that you could actually do there.
Right.
I
want to be the biscuit. The biscuit.
Yeah,
I want to be the biscuit.
They do that. They make cobblers.
Yeah.
And I guess
I'd be the chuck wagon guy.
Yeah.
We
do have.
Make sure you clean your forks and
A lot of the
spoons.
schools will opt to do a cookout that day, and it's just really just dollars over the original price. So it's not very pricey, but it just gives the kids a chance to get the fire going. And it just adds to that whole Texas Village feeling.
Right.
We let them all chip in, and they all make the fire.
Right.
They build it. They put everything in there.
Yeah.
They light it. They get to cook it, and then of course, with the chuck wagon thing, we
Hang
have
a
an
pot.
old wagon. Old. wagon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real deal wagon.
Yeah.
The old wood
And we pull that thing.
We're not doing a Krishan delay out there, right? I hope not. That would be fun, though. That's for the adults, right? That would be good.
But bring in some of the animals out for Texas Village.
Oh, okay,
because
cool.
they needed to see how important
Yeah.
farming
The
was.
little baby chicks.
Yeah.
Bring them up there, and the kids can see
Right.
all those things.
Yeah.
Of course, it's out there, it's outside, so we have to monitor that because we have a family of hogs.
Right.
They're sitting there watching. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
for
you
sure.
leave that chicken.
Yeah,
and I'll get
yeah.
You're going to learn real quick about the life
So,
cycle.
yeah, you learn about the life cycle and
Right.
everything that's going
Yeah, that
on.
leads us into ecosystem studies.
The
That's-
ecosystems.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
one of the things that and then Native American culture kind
Mm-hmm.
of that was one that kind of rang true to me. So what does that
So
look
on the
like?
ecosystems right now, we have
Me
a
too.
living lab, and Dr.
Yeah.
Ford from UT Tyler, he's
Oh.
retired from there,
Yeah.
but he was a biology professor for years, and he comes and he monitors and helps train our staff on how to get the kids to be comfortable with the amphibians, reptiles. We have like bearded dragons, a turtle, non-venomous snakes like the milk snake, corn snake,
Yeah.
and then we take the kids and we do a skins and skulls.
Yeah,
unit.
that's one of the ones here. Yeah,
It's so
that's-
awesome. So
yeah.
we seed the trail with like
Okay.
skulls and
Yeah.
bones and
Yeah.
skins. And so as they go through, they talk about what lives here, what's their habitat, where do they fit in the food chain.
Yeah.
So it's very science, but in a really fun
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
Like
and
what-
she's talking about seeding the trail. She's talking about
Yeah,
putting
yeah,
it
yeah,
in.
Yeah.
Sure,
It's
sure.
a long trail for them to
Right.
find.
And they can talk about the adaptation. So if the eye sockets go this way, does that mean they're herbivore, carnivore, omnivore? Are they a
Yeah.
predator? Are they prey? You
Yeah.
know, and they talk about the birds. So it's really focusing on wildlife habitat,
Yeah.
the ecology study, and the living lab, and the skins and skulls.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
And then we have the pond research, which is where the
Yeah,
they absolutely-
pond study. Yeah.
yeah.
absolutely love pond study because the kids get their rubber boots on, they get their nets, we have big aquarium tanks, we have posters. So like if you found these type of macroinvertebrates in the pond study, like how many did you find? What does that tell you? Is this a healthy? Because what we do, like actually what I do is I bring like clean water because ARC is a great donor, once again, donates
Yeah.
us clean water. And then we have like a picture of the pond water. Well, when you first set the stage for that, the kids are like going, raise your hand if you think this is the healthy water. And they're all like going, yeah, of course. And
Yeah,
raise your
for
hand
sure.
if you think this is the, and they're like, no. So we reframe their thinking
Yeah.
in that the health of the pond depends on the diversity of life it supports.
Yeah.
And it starts with the macroinvertebrates. And then who comes to the pond? You see evidence of raccoons, of deer tracks, you know.
Oh,
and like
tracks.
right there, the instructors
Snakes.
will have like in their backpacks, oh my gosh, I'm blank on what that's called, where they mix it with water and they make the track.
Oh, the plaster Paris.
Yeah.
Plaster of Paris.
Plaster.
Yeah, plaster of Paris in their baggies. So like if they see deer, they see raccoons.
They can make a
and
plaster of it and
They
they
can
can
make
bring
it
it
right
up.
then.
Yeah,
They
we
take
use
it
little,
right
Say,
then.
here's a hoof.
Yeah, little
This-
PVC.
Yeah.
Round,
Yeah, PVC
4-inch
rings.
PVC
Yeah.
rings, about 2
And don't
inches.
step in that. That's scat.
Yeah,
You know, or
Yeah.
whatever.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just
So
really
they learn that,
fun.
and our ecosystem is very diverse, and it's
Oh,
very,
Oh my
sure.
goodness, it's very
very,
rich.
I remember the first time I saw deer scat. I'm like, that ain't scat.
We talk
There's
about-
no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
yeah. And then we have like, they're so versatile out there and so diverse. UT Tyler's biology department comes
Yeah.
regularly to study all
Yeah, to
the
monitor
stuff
the different
at our
parts.
camp.
Yeah.
And that's been a really way we've grown, like the
Yes.
past few years, is letting UT biology grad students do their research out there, and it has to be very. It's not like, oh, you can just come willy nilly.
Right,
It has to be very
scheduled
carefully
and,
scheduled.
yeah, we've
But
got
it's
activity.
an amazing thing. Like they're doing all kinds of studies on the ponds, the forest. Salamander study was that last
we had a
big
young man
study.
that did a whole study on. We didn't even know anything about salamanders,
Right.
and he's catching 5 or 6 different species out
Wow.
there at night.
Like even in the
different ponds,
drought.
and he's like, "This is the best place ever."
Like in the
Right.
drought, like the pond, some of the ponds would be almost dry, and it would rain. He'd be out there like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
the next morning,
Yeah.
and he would find
Yeah.
all kinds of samplings. It was
He's coming out with
really
little
exciting.
minnow traps, you know the ones that,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's breaking a light stick
Yeah.
and putting it inside it and dropping it in there.
Yeah, it's stuff
And
they know that we have no clue about.
salamanders come and get
Yeah.
into the trap. And he says, oh, well, you got tiger salamanders, or you got all these
We were
different
just
things.
blown away at all
Yeah.
the things he found. But another really cool avenue while we're talking about UT is they bring in their science educators, because a lot of education majors, you know, of course they can pull materials from the internet or they can go to museums. But here, like, we're training them. This is, if you come to the pond, you know, you get the boots on, you get the net, and teaching them what a true field science experiment looks like in the field. And that's what's lacking as our schools get more, I get it, like for security, and become more cement and less land. They need to have places that they can go out to where they can feel secure, but they can do actual field data collection, and that's what like we're offering.
Yeah, that's a big debate right now. Is like you've got the kids there from 7:30, 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, sometimes 2, depending on the ISD, and then you got homework. So then you send them home, and then they got another 2 hours, an hour and a half, or whatever. And then during the summer, you have them reading, X, Y, Z. Where's the time for what they want to do? What they want to do. They're utilizing their personality. I'm not talking about the social media type stuff, but being creative and learning to be a friend. And I'm seeing a big gap in that. Like I employ a younger population, and most of all my guys and girls are really good folks, but they were raised during the Google, first couple of Google things. And so, like when I was writing a report, and you guys were the same, you had to go to the library, you had to use a decimal system, you had to go get a book, you had to, read the book and kind of understand what was going on there, and then write your report and try your best to kind of phrase it in the best way you could do it in what you were doing. And now it's like 0.2 seconds, you get your answer. And what I see happening is, by doing that, by getting answers so quickly and frames of references and the social media and stuff like that, it's de-elongated. So it's shortened a lot of folks' frames of references of how long it takes to get things done.
Right.
And so I want to be rich. It happens immediately.
Instant
It's
gratification.
viral. I want a best friend. It happens immediately. I want to be the president of a bank. It happens in a year. And so all these relationships that you have to build are kind of, it's missing. It's the same thing with marriages and with relationships and with parents and kids and stuff like that. I think what you're doing is you're setting it back to like, hey, you have to earn it. You have to experience it. You have to help someone get up to where you're at instead of stepping on them.
And there are setbacks.
Right,
Just like with our maze.
Right.
Oh boy,
This Sudan grass was 9 foot
beautiful.
tall.
It was
It was
beautiful.
absolutely beautiful. A
Right.
whole acre and a half of it for our maze.
Right.
I go out there, and the hogs had gotten in it and destroyed
Tore it.
the whole thing. So we mow it. Now this is Sudan grass, so it is thick, big, lots of grass.
Right.
So we mow it with the tractor, then we mow it with the mowers, then I bring the hay rakes out and rake it, and then I bring my skid steer out and push it off, all trying to redo this because we know all these kids are coming this fall for a maze.
Yeah.
So we had to totally redo the whole thing, start over.
And getting mad and frustrated, throwing things down, blaming someone else, and all that. It's not going to help you.
No,
right?
no.
None of those things, it's like, all
But
right,
it's all
this happened.
those setbacks.
It happened. And so guess what? Here are the next steps.
Listen, when they called me, I was driving into Tyler to get something for Camp Tyler from one of the stores, and they told me, I'm like, I just have to pull over a minute because I'm so upset. I couldn't believe it. But yet we have a maze. It's not 9 feet tall, but it's very awesome still.
Over 5 feet tall, it's still growing.
It still has scarecrows floating in it, and the teachers are loving it.
And the young maintenance guys and Kathy were like this, I mean, I was devastated at first, but then I told Kathy, I said, look, my grandparents were farmers, carpenters. They went through this on a yearly basis.
For sure.
Nothing ever is perfect. It's all hard work, and Sometimes it doesn't matter if it's hogs or hail or a tornado. Things just happen, and all you can do is suck it up.
Yeah.
Move
Now
on.
you just need a couple traps or a couple thermals around there.
Well, we did a little of that taken care of.
Or some dogs. I mean,
Yeah.
dogs help too. So
We actually, believe it or not, I bought 2 radios, and we play KTBB
Okay.
24 hours a day,
It's help.
and the hogs have not come back.
Okay. Well,
Just that noise.
and
I
having
did
somebody
put
talking.
a couple of solar spotlights that
Spotlights,
come
yeah,
on
that
with
helps
motion sensor.
Yeah, that
So
helps.
between the lights and the radios,
Good.
we solved our problem, and we don't have any hogs out there right now.
But you know what? Even with dealing with all that, what it did is it helped our 2 young facility guys who very much are the technological, that age that they grew up in. Everything was an instant fix, but they saw like determination because we're going to do it again. And even at the week out before Pumpkin Patch opened, like, okay, are you all going to use like the wildlife maze? Are you going to use this because it's still not quite there? And we're like, you know what? We're going to use this because you guys have mowed it, we've set it, we reseeded it, and we're going to use it. We're committed. We're going to use our 4th C of commitment, and we're going to use this maze. And they were so proud because they know how hard they worked to get that maze
None of these guys?
They're young guys.
Yeah.
Our maintenance guys, Devin Whitmill and Jackson McGee.
Okay.
And
both of them are in their 20s.
Yeah.
Early 20s.
so they're learning a lot.
Yeah,
So
that's
Camp,
awesome.
And
with us using the 4 Cs and how we treat each other on staff, like they're learning. You don't just give up because something bad happened.
Yeah,
it's like
for
when we got hit with the storms at the 1st of June. I
Yeah.
mean, we're still struggling with trees everywhere. But
Yeah.
it's like,
oh yeah, we got that big tornado when Ark was there.
Yeah.
I mean, first 3 days, what kind of luck?
Right.
These are all the children.
Yeah.
They've waited all year. Everybody was so excited.
Sure.
it was
And
heartbreaking,
that-
but
I
you
mean,
did
that
the
thing
best you could do.
Yeah.
Just came through there. We were without power for 7 or 8 days.
Yeah.
35 trees down. FEMA says we don't help nonprofits.
Yeah.
No money. It's like, of all the people you could help,
You should be helping nonprofits.
don't help nonprofits.
Right.
So we literally spent.
Got to create a
Well, we didn't have thousands and thousands of dollars to spend.
Right.
So I go to the camp and the young guys say, "You're just going to be so disappointed when you see all this. It's just devastating." And so we go and we look, and they said, "So what do you think?" I said, "Get the chainsaws."
Yeah. For sure.
That's
That's
our
what
option.
you do.
Yeah.
We can't hire a bunch of crews.
Yeah.
So we sharpened the chainsaws, and we all got to work, and we're still working at it.
Yeah.
Yep,
But
but
we
still
didn't
doing
give up.
it.
We're still
Didn't
doing
give
it.
up.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're making firewood out of
Yeah, for sure.
disasters.
Yeah. You're cooking biscuits.
Lots and lots of firewood.
Let's talk a little bit about Native American culture, because that's something that strikes a chord with me.
Okay.
My wife has a lot of Native American in her, so I hear, I heard a lot of
That's so good to
stories
hear.
about
So
that.
let me
yeah.
just tell you where we are. It is on the website, but we are not currently marketing Native America because we made inroads in working on the museum. Then we have
Okay.
a lot of transition in our staff.
Okay.
It's very important when we do a unit like that that's cultural, that we
Yeah.
do it in a legitimate and honoring way.
Yes.
And so although we have started on the museum part of it, and
Okay.
that part's in place, we want to complete it with what we need. I'm kind of stumbling here, but what we need is to move to the next part of it, where you go in the museum part and you're seeing the different tribes of different parts of America, and you're seeing a display of what was represented in that culture. So the next step is to get out from the museum and go do the tools over here station and this part of the cooking culture and how they
And what we
farmed.
would really, in that respect, we always look for people that are willing to help us with that heritage, to make sure that it's correct, and to make sure that we've got it time period right, and that this is the way it was. And so and that is kind of becoming a lost knowledge, really.
Yeah, it sounds like tools and people. We need tools and people to kind of get it all completed to where it's something that's representative of Camp Tyler.
Yeah,
right.
Many of the reservations now don't do like when you, well, especially me, not even you, because I got kids as old as you.
Maybe probably so.
Back in the day,
I don't know.
Yeah, back in the day, when you went to Livingston, to the Alabama Coshawta Indian Reservation,
yes,
you got to see the real deal.
Yeah.
Now you see a casino.
Right.
So it's all we're losing the knowledge that we desperately want to have.
Even if you go to mounds, I mean, there's typically not experts there.
Right.
You're typically just walking around and looking at plaques that they presented, and they typically have either arrowheads or tools that are encased. And that's it. That's your display. You're walking 1 to 2.
Yeah,
it's a walking tour.
Yeah. And so one thing that really came out of those storms.
The Humidor is your online cigar retailing headquarters. Our experienced staff has spent years finding some of the best cigars from around the world to sell to our customers. If you're looking for an online cigar store that can help you find your next favorite smoke, welcome to the Humidor. We began the Humidor because of our deep appreciation of the finer things in life, a good conversation with friends, an aged whiskey, and, of course, a fine smoke. That's why, in addition to selling premium cigars online, we also operate a brick-and-mortar cigar lounge in Tyler, Texas. Our lounge is crafted to provide a classic ambience with modern sensibilities, and we've spent time ensuring that smokers and non-smokers have an enjoyable experience, whether they're there for a drink with friends or to enjoy the game.
Hey podcast listeners, are you in need of some top-notch libations to elevate your next gathering? Look no further than Hoot and Holler Liquor Store in Gun Barrel City, your go-to liquor store for quality drinks. From smooth bourbons to crisp wines and everything in between, Hoot and Holler has one of the largest and most diverse selections in East Texas. Planning a special occasion? Let our experts guide you to the perfect bottle. You'll receive excellent customer service not offered in the big box chains. Visit Hoot and Holler today and let the good times flow.
Vault Arms is your premier destination for all things firearms. Extensive selection of handguns, rifles, shotguns, and accessories. Knowledgeable staff to assist you in finding the perfect firearm to fit your needs. State-of-the-art gun range equipped with the latest technology for a safe and thrilling shooting experience. Take advantage of our professional shooting instruction and training programs suitable for all skill levels. Host your next group outing, corporate event, or bachelor party at our spacious and secure shooting facility. Committed to promoting responsible gun ownership and firearm safety. Fully licensed and compliant with all state and federal regulations.
We had some huge trees that were uprooted. And so to tell you how our staff is so committed and has been all their lives, Glenn Shackelford is in his 80s. He was a main guy at Camp Tyler when TISD was operating it 9 months out of the year. Which is always a conception. Everybody thinks that we were owned by TISD. Never.
Yeah, no.
They ran it for 9 months out of the year for 50 years,
right,
and then decided, hey, we want to give it back. And so we've had it since 2008 on a constant rebuilding process. But back to Mr. Shackelford, he's the one that did our forge. He's very outdoor, knowledgeable, oriented. So one day I'm going by and there's this huge blown over stump out by the road, by McElroy Road. And I said, that's Mr. Shackelford. So I pulled over. And I said, Mr. Shackelford, you all right? Yeah, I'm getting some red clay out of this tree stump. I said, really? And he said, this is the perfect clay for pottery. He said, but I want to make Indian pottery. And he said, I've been doing that for years and years and years with a kiln. And he said, this is absolutely the best clay for making pottery. And he's digging it out with a little fork and putting it in a 5-gallon bucket.
Right.
Well, 2 weeks later, he shows up and he calls Kathy and he says, hey, I'm coming over to camp. Get your staff. I've made brick molds. I'm going to show y'all how to make pottery and bricks out of this clay that I collected on the camp. So
we were having a staff meeting. I'm like, you know what? This is more important. We're going to shut down the staff meeting.
Yeah.
Mr. Shackelford's here, and he's going to teach us how to make clay bricks
pretty
because
cool.
in pots. Pinch pots for the kids, and so we did. We just shut everything down. We went over there. He had like an hour and a half to 2 hours of our time. We all made bricks and pots. He taught us like step by step. We wrote it down. And so that's really like what we need. We need people like that who can be legitimate.
people that know, and like he
People
said,
that know.
he said, you know, the clay is so perfect.
Yeah,
But
the
you
right
gotta-
richness.
But you got to add a little bit of sand
Like we have a
to
little,
keep it from cracking.
Yeah.
And so he was showing them exactly how.
we have the recipe written down.
And
So
that's
it's so
where
important.
things are going away.
Yeah.
Right.
You know that we're missing is.
But he just passed that along.
Oh yeah, just
Yeah,
and that's what we need.
It's
We
a
need
passion.
that.
He's been passionate for it
Yeah.
all his life for Camp Tyler.
Yeah,
we
for
need
sure.
that from the community. We need people to say, okay, I want to come out. What day can I come? We want to.
Yeah.
We have this aspect of Native American. We can share that with you because what we want is when a Native American person comes on our camp, they go, oh yeah, you did it right. This
Right,
really
right.
does symbolize
Right.
what we were about, and that's
Right.
how we ground the corn. And
Yeah.
my great grandmother, we cooked, a
Right.
lot of cornbread like this way
Right.
that we ground from here, and that's
Yeah,
what we're looking
that's
for,
pretty
people
cool.
to help us so that we can get that off.
Yeah, and the kids, you know, like you were talking about the kids and the bonding.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody could come to Camp Tyler, and I call it breaking the silence for a whole different reason than anybody else would. But you see on TV nowadays where everybody's sitting around the table and everybody's texting on their phone.
Sure.
We don't have any phones.
Yeah.
We got 100 or 125 kids in our lodge with a big fireplace and brands for 80 years of kids coming there on the walls
Yeah.
everywhere.
And we're still branded.
And there's no cell phones.
Yeah.
And these kids are talking to each other.
Yeah.
They're screaming, they're hollering, they're playing games, they're dancing.
Yeah.
They're having an absolute ball.
Yeah.
And then the most amazing thing is any of our staff, Kathy or whoever it is, walks in and puts her hand up,
Right.
and every kid starts raising their hand
Yeah, for sure.
until the whole room is silent.
Yeah.
But they all learn that, they know
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing.
Oh, trust me, my mom was a pre-K teacher, and I knew the hand up for sure. And it's the most effective tool because they can look up and they know what it means.
You're not
and
blowing
everybody-
whistles. You're not.
Yeah, it's not, and
It's
it's like, and then a friend goes, "Hey, look over there," it's the hands up.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of like, and then it's quiet, and everybody knows that's the universal sign that it's
Right.
time to listen to someone versus talking. So
Yeah.
it's awesome. Talk to me about birding. I've never birded.
So
So-
birding is actually part of our ecosystem study.
Okay.
So what we'll do a lot of times first is talk about the characteristics of a bird and like what bird has this kind of claw, what bird has these type of feathers, what bird has this type of neck and beak, and so we have like programs that are like our insect study, our birding, our skins and skulls. They all tie in because it's all part of the food web. It's really nice to do that when the teachers are looking for things that can emphasize their star concepts, because stars are state Texas required test. And so if they can get them out to the field and we can do that. Yeah, this bird's beak looks like what instrument out here on the table? Well, it looks like tongs, that's right, and like, why is that? What does that tell you that it eats, predator, prey?
So we're not stalking birds and like looking for
No.
them.
So we
Now,
have-
we do have the Audubon Society.
We do have the Audubon
Okay.
Society. And
That comes and looks and
And they record all the
Oh yeah,
birds.
they do
Okay.
bird
We have
counts. The
huge-
Christmas bird count is huge every year.
Okay.
So we
Awesome.
have the data collected.
Okay.
And like the kids can go out, they may find, if they come out in the morning, that's when we want to actually get the binoculars to start doing the birding, because mostly that's when the actual birds are going to be out. As the day warms up, you're going to see less and less.
Right.
But you can still find different styles of bird's nest or habitats.
Yeah.
We just had SFA, we'll shout out to them.
Yes,
the Ducks
the-
Unlimited, SFA.
The college chapter of Ducks Unlimited from Stephen F. Austin University came out Saturday and built and installed wood duck boxes
Oh,
along the
cool.
lakefront and
Okay.
on some of our
That's
ponds.
wonderful.
They ran out of time. They want to come back and do some more.
Okay.
Great group of kids,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
enjoyed them so
Yeah.
much. So ours, they were falling apart because they've been there for
Totally
years.
volunteered, drove up here on their own time, their own
That's cool.
gas. They
Yeah.
put them together, they cut them, they talked about them. I believe there was 10, right, Kathy? I think about as many girls as there were boys.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was really nice.
And every one of them got, the young guy that was in charge of them,
Yeah.
made them all move station to station, putting the boxes together.
Yeah, that was great.
So that they knew how to do every stage
Yeah,
of
right.
the box build.
That's cool.
Just like the hardware cloth on the inside. People don't realize that the baby wood ducks, if you don't have the hardware cloth on the inside of the box, they can't climb out
Yeah.
to get out.
Right.
So that has to be installed in the correct manner. So
Yeah.
So like as we hike with the kids, we would come across a duck box and we get to talk about that. So even though they may not see a duck right there, like we could talk about wood ducks.
Yeah.
and
What it
things.
what was like to get
But
them
a
out
lot
of
of
the
times
box.
we do see great blues, around, or we'll see hawks. Those we're gonna see those
Yeah.
no matter what time of day. Every now and then, occasionally an eagle, but
yes,
right.
we had a
mostly
couple of
around
bald
here
eagles that come
hawks.
fishing in front of our piers.
Yeah, we have one that comes out at our lake too. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool to see, but they're ruthless. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
ruthless
yeah.
hunters.
Yeah.
And
So it's really fun
some
to
cranes
see
and
that.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you probably see some roadrunners.
Oh yeah,
out
we
there.
get the egrets, roadrunners.
Love roadrunners.
Every-
They're one of my favorites.
Armadillos, squirrels, you
Yeah.
name it.
Well, it was really
Foxes.
fun this summers when we got the kids out in the canoes and paddle boards, and we saw some of the great blues,
Yeah.
or like the great blues and the blue herons, like immature, because they're
Sure.
different colors. Some are
Yeah.
white, some are the
Yeah.
gray. And we'd just be out there paddling, like, oh my gosh, oh look, it's a great blue, and like all the kids are like, it's a great blue, it's a great blue, like they knew.
Yeah, right.
It's like, let's paddle over there and go
Yeah.
see the great.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think-
like.
Yep.
Learning in the moment, I
Yeah,
guess
for
that's
sure.
really important
Yeah.
out there. Is
And then
because
getting home and telling that story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Just
and we went
taking
down
advantage.
to the homestead pond. I was showing them where to put up a wood duck box.
Oh my
And when we went
goodness.
in, there was probably 50 wood ducks on that pond.
Unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
They just kept getting up, flying, and
Yeah.
some of these kids were part of DU, never seen
Yeah.
that kind of wood duck
And the
population.
markets
Swirl.
are beautiful.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, so talk to me a little bit about, we mentioned the Amazing Race, which is also kind of goes in correlation with my notes with team building.
Right.
So talk to me about Amazing Race, because it does sound like, yes, it could be sculpted for kids, but it pretty sounds like it could be young adults or adults
For
too.
adults.
It really is.
right.
Okay, so it really is
Yes.
because after Angel and I worked on it quite a bit, one day we just went, there was an old observation dock which has been replaced now thanks to wonderful facilities and board, and we go up there and you can just see over, this is like right now, it's like a wildlife maze that the boys have like continued to mow the trails through, has activity stations all through it.
Sure.
So a lot of the activity stations are challenges at the different stations. The beauty of the Amazing Race is if the teachers need more of a star science, we can pull field.
Yeah.
They have like a bone garden over there
Yeah.
we can use, but it has also like the same maze, have Aggie skis, the same maze, has like soil study and sampling, and it has like the walking A. So the kids are split. The people who do the maze, I'm not going to just say kids because we had our board come and the board did the maze.
Yeah.
So they're like on teams and they're making their own flag and they're making their chant and they have little passports and they get points. And so anytime they use one of the 4 C's and they write in their passport about it, they get additional points. It's competitive, but it's competition in a positive way. So they're maneuvering through the maze, doing the challenges while using the 4 C's. They have their flags up on sticks, and at each activity they post it up there. If they put a red bandana on top of their flag, we know they need help immediately, and the Camp Power staff is out there.
Yeah.
there could be somebody who rolled an ankle.
Okay.
There could be conflict that we can't solve.
Okay.
And so like once we get out there, we work them through that
Sure.
using the 4 C's once
Yeah.
again. They get awarded.
That's what I do whenever I'm in the escape room and I'm frustrated and I'm like, I don't know the answer.
Exactly.
Raise the red flag.
Yeah.
So each team has a big bandana and they have a green flag. When the green flag goes up, we know that they think they've completed their challenge. So we send an instructor out
Okay.
there to like ask them, you know, did you read this? This was your challenge. How did you meet your goal? What was your challenge in this? And they would share, like they shared, like they do. They actually just
And
share.
they all have
Yeah.
to work together.
Right.
They all have a part.
Yeah.
And everybody has to complete their part
Yes.
to make
Or
it
you
work.
don't get those points, or
Right.
you just get a lesser point.
Yeah.
So we pull them back in around lunchtime when it's really a full day program.
Yeah.
And we kind of hit up, this is how many points this team is, this is how
Yeah.
many points this
Yeah.
team. And like, so what we're saying is you regroup,
Yeah.
you recommit.
It's a rally.
And it's a rally point.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's really, it is amazing. We are always
Right.
seeing amazing things
Yeah.
happen. And
Yeah.
so we have several schools that are working very hard to fund their schools and get grants to come out with their, we kind of
And
targeted
it's
the.
because their administration came out and did it.
That's right.
I mean,
we,
the teachers
we,
actually
we
came
did.
out and
Counselors,
said,
administrators.
oh my gosh, we got to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
And so they're raising funding, so kind of targeted at no less than 5th grade, but really for 8th grade up through, just
Yeah.
up through organizations
Right,
even.
right.
And so we piloted it all last year and got such good feedback. And so then we had that one school district.
I can
with
imagine. I mean, it
administrators.
sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it feels like a field day with a purpose.
And the kids
You know?
get, so we tell, like, if I'm coming to your school, I'm like, you want to do Amazing Race with your 8th graders, go into your community and pull them in. Get gift cards from Dairy Queen, gift cards from whatever, restaurants, from businesses.
Yeah, go to any restaurant and do a 20%.
Yeah.
Go to the car wash place.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah, I
doing high
gotcha.
schoolers,
I
go to the
gotcha.
car wash place. Go get, go to a store and say, what can you donate for my kids?
Right.
And so they get prizes. They're gonna get prizes.
Yeah.
And and that's cool. And it gets them motivated at first, but what really starts to motivate them once they're in the maze is what they see, like intrinsically, like the teamwork really is working.
Yeah.
So they're learning these skills outside of whatever we've asked them to do.
Tell me
They're
about the
actually
bingo, the bone.
Oh, the boneyard bingo. So
Yeah, I read about
we
that.
have like the bone garden is in one section of the maze.
Yes.
It's on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So they have to go over there, and there's this huge tarp, and it's just like a bingo tarp, but they have to like do blackout bingo.
Yeah.
So if you're having to find the skull of a predator who eats
Yeah,
rats,
it could say
I mean, it could-
a carnival, a skull of a carnival.
yeah, and so
You
they
gotta
have to go
find
in
one,
the bone garden and
bring it
find
back
what
and
they
put
need.
it on that square.
Okay.
And so
got
when the
it.
instructors come, they check it out. Like, so,
Yeah.
did you do that? Yes, you got that. You got that. You got that.
Oh, wait a minute. This one's not right.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to pick another
Yeah.
one.
Like us, we couldn't find one, and we
Yeah.
kept looking for when the board did it.
Right.
And come to find out, probably some other critter
Had
hauled it off.
Yeah.
Hauled it off,
Oh, they threw it over the hill or something and
But-
stumped you.
But Kathy said, "Hey, you guys really got to do this." So I talked to the board
Sure.
and I said, "Hey,
And they did.
let's go do it." Everybody said, "Yeah, okay, we'll go do it."
Yeah. I probably.
I've never seen so many old people be so competitive.
Oh my
in their
goodness.
life.
Yeah.
We
Oh
were
my
all on
goodness.
board. It
I
was
wish I could
Oh,
have
I
videoed
imagine.
person by person.
And I think that sometimes when you do those types of things, I went to summer camps and stuff like that and did a couple of these types of projects. That when you do that lunch rally, that a lot of times people that go out there that don't have the intent to like participate or get involved or like be a part of what's happening, they see it as kind of, and it's typically the guys like me. Typically, it's like I'm just here, just a day away from school, day in and day out. School. I'm an athlete. This is an athletic or whatever. But then you get to the rally point and you see everybody sharing, and you're like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I'm the minority here for a change."
Yeah.
And everybody here is here for a sensory purpose. They're here to learn. They're here for teamwork. They're here, and it's not all about me.
So what you
It's
said.
not all about me.
That's right.
It's about a bigger
Us.
cause, and I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Right.
So then the afternoon, it's like I'm wearing a different hat.
Yeah.
So the rally point to me was always real big, not just for me whenever I was growing up, but whenever I was a counselor or whenever I was involved in teaching and training and stuff like that, you'd see people, not just kids, but people like get it. Like, whoa, wait a minute.
The light switch comes on.
Correct.
The bulb starts glowing.
It's almost like they have a moment of pause.
Well, we call it
like
the aha moment.
Yeah, you're in the moment for a while and you see stuff happening and you get to disengage. But when you're in that rally deal, there is no disengaging.
So
You're
one
part
thing
of
you
it.
said earlier, just a few minutes ago, you said, I may be the football player or I may be the drill team captain, but when you come off that bus, you are just another
We
person.
level the
It is
playing
a
field
level
when you come off the
playing
bus.
field.
Yeah.
And so
And
I
you realize
love
that you've got to work together.
Yeah.
No
I like
matter
that.
what.
But that athlete with that speed, he plays a important
Yes.
role
Yes.
in doing this. But then that other
That
guy,
science nerd,
it makes
man, you
Yes.
better have a science nerd on your team.
Yeah,
because
for
you're
sure.
gonna hit the wall.
Yeah. Somebody's done some reading, right?
So I just keep saying amazing. That's why we call it a maze
That's
in,
cool.
because it's an maze, because you're in a maze and you're working inside. You're
Yeah.
working from the inside out. So that's what's
Yeah.
the maze in race. So it's just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, I love it. That's
Yeah.
probably one of
It's
my
gonna
favorite
be
things
a-
that I
We
read about.
foresee that organizations and
Yes.
businesses will pick
Yeah,
this
and
up.
it's not just for kids.
Oh, we're going to talk about this after the podcast is
It
over.
is.
It's like,
I see it being a fun thing to do.
yeah.
Really,
Listen,
really fun.
These board members, Buzz
I mean-
team, they were over there like, oh, we're going to get our chant. This is going to be
Yeah.
the best chant. We're going to all
It's like you have to do a chant, you have to make a flag.
Yes.
And everything's, you have to hurry.
Right.
So it's like, and Angela, she keeps like, Bud. And I'm like, I'm ready to go.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting on.
You want to move.
Yeah.
You're an inertia guy. You're an inertia guy.
And so, it's like,
Like sitting down is
she's
not
trying to
good.
explain what we're
Yeah.
supposed to be doing, and I'm telling Garrett, hey Garrett, you start working on the chant. I don't
cutting
want the
corners.
flag. And I'm whispering to all these guys, go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
We're still hearing her out of this ear. Let's get started on this one because we don't want to lose.
Right.
So it was really
it's so eye-opening.
yeah.
Right. All right. So we talked a little bit about the Native American culture. You're developing that program, and we still have some pieces that we need to put together to make it as what the Camp Tyler Worthy. We'll just call it that.
Right.
What are some other programs that you guys are exploring to try to get developed?
So kind of like what is on ground level is reaching another sector, and that is and partnering with some of our other community youth entities, and that would be Discovery Science Place, and that would be Caldwell Zoo, and that would be Camp Tyler, partnering together to offer teachers an opportunity here local. Every year teachers have to earn so many continuing education units or credits. And so if we partner together, what it's going to do, it's going to familiarize the teacher with what's going on at Camp Tyler a day, what's going on at the Caldwell Zoo a day, what's going on at Discovery Science Place a day. And so we're going to partner to offer that experience to teachers who can come in, participate at the 3 different entities, and they'll get confidence in taking their students out there later on during the year, and then they also get awarded their CEUs, their continuing education
because
credits.
it gets something different from every place.
Right, for
Ours
sure.
is a lot of hands-on pond research. They're all science related, but some of them are like Discovery Science. They're learning about different things than they would at the zoo.
For sure.
And
So we
different
really,
things.
and it's so great to me that we live in a community where we all care about our youth, where we're not like, oh, it's the zoo or this or Discovery Science or
see value in all 3.
No, it's value in all 3, and like we can do a really great partnership and do something really good for our teachers that will trickle down to our youth.
And one of our new programs is the bees.
Oh yeah.
So we have 12 beehives at camp.
Nice.
6 on one side and 6 on the other.
Okay.
We recently purchased new honey extraction equipment. We spin our own honey.
Oh, it's good.
Bottle our own honey.
It's good.
It's all raised right there. It's all natural. We plant things for those bees, fruit trees.
I love it. I love bees. It's one of my favorites.
So we're learning through our agricultural part to coexist with the bees, which is an issue sometimes because people that are in the hay business, when you get armyworms, they're spraying 7 to kill those armyworms to save their field. That same 7 will kill those bees if you spray it on them. So we're learning at camp. We're all learning, but we're learning you don't spray on windy days. If you've got armyworms in your pastures, we use every caution we can to protect our bees because now they're a vital part of our camp as well as the hay production and the garden. The bees are a huge benefit for the garden.
Oh, 100%.
The pollinators, you know.
And teaching that part in with the school kids, and you can't just like kill all these bees just because they might sting you, because that is your food cycle. You have to have pollinators.
I learned that way later in life.
And the swarms with the bees, our hives, like every hive, when they get overpopulated or things change, they swarm. And you get to show the kids, here's this swarm, and it's amazing to see this huge basketball mass of bees
how gentle they are
on a tree. And you can just go over there and rake them into a box. And as long as you got the queen, all the bees go into the box and nobody gets stuck.
There's a lot of lessons to be learned just from the colonies. And every bee has its part. They can't survive without the drone, without this bee, without
the worker bees and the drones and the queen, they all have to coexist and work together.
Not to say that the honey is like delicious.
Oh, I bet it is.
And like what affects the flavor of the honey. Like Bud has put in different fruit trees. Well, that would be something that we'll continue to learn.
I didn't realize how critical trees were for bees. I thought it was just all flowers. Like you have a bunch of flowers.
What kind of fruit did y'all do? Peach?
We do peach and plum and pear. We have peach, plum, and pear, and they all bloom. We did them. Darren Roselle with Roselle Egg. He's a good friend of mine, and I go to him for a lot of times for different things. They did the Roselle Peach Farms forever. So he suggested that we get peach trees of different varieties so that they bloom and they produce at different times all summer. So now we have these peaches and plum trees and pear trees that are all blooming staggered out so that the bees get the benefit, the kids get the benefit of seeing the trees bloom, and some of them are blooming and some of them have peaches on them already. So they get to see that process all the way through.
That's cool.
So it's just all working.
That's awesome. All right, so one of the notes I have here is expansion of client base. Talk to us a little bit about the partners that you want to work with, trying to work with. We talked a little bit about the zoo and
and you know, like the FFAs, we're trying to get the FFAs to see our bees, our hay production. A lot of FFA students nowadays are in FFA, but they don't have a farm. They don't know. And you know, we're really trying to get ag teachers, FFA groups, to realize what value we can really bring to them, and not just on a day basis, but on a residential where they come and they stay overnight and they learn about the bees, and they can see us processing the honey and bottling the honey and the steps there. Or they come when the hay production's going on and we're rolling hay. You know, we roll about...
Or grab a chainsaw.
Or grab a chainsaw. Cut up a tree and make some firewood, you know. Plant in the garden. You know, we would love to have them come out and participate. And these FFA teachers can bring a lot to Camp Tyler as well. Because they stay up with all the modern techniques and technology. Even though we're teaching old school, we still want to see the benefits of the new stuff and how you increase your production. You know, we still till our garden, and we still use a hiller to make the rows, and we plant things by hand, you know, and we know there's better processes, but we also know this is the way our tried and true, our ancestors did it. And we want those kids to see, here's that seed and here's what it is
We
And here's that
really,
pumpkin.
really want FFA too, and just merging the generational thing, because also futuristic. You see every day farm properties going up for sale, turning into subdivisions.
Sure.
You ought to be alarmed because they're taking away the areas of land where we grow our food.
Right.
And so if we don't pull in FFA and even have FFA do in turn workshops out at Camp Tyler for kids coming out to camp,
Right.
they've got to learn the importance of farming and the importance to our food supply, because you can only sell so many new houses. I'm not belittling that, but I'm you turn the table on that. Where are you going to get your food source from? And so that is something that we need to.
And that's something that we're really trying to get them involved in, is because I was in FFA at a time in the 70s when we literally drove to Camp Tyler 2 or 3 days a week, and we helped with the cows and the hay and everything that was going on out there. That was part of my FFA program.
Right.
Kids nowadays, they sit in a classroom.
Yeah, and they're showing. That's it.
And they're showing animals, but they don't really get to see the commercial production side of that, or have some input in it. And the showing has become so aggressive. It's not about the kids and the
about
animals.
making fences.
It's about
and
who has the most
it's the
money
show.
to buy the most hybrid steer to win the show. It's not about just
what to feed them to make them the biggest.
Yes, exactly. So the real farming aspect of that, and I've got a really good friend, Jay Mormon. He's with the Low Tractor here in Tyler. They help us out a lot, and we're working. I'm trying to work with him real closely right now. If we can get some of the FFAs, he says we're willing to come out for the kids. We'll do whatever.
Yeah.
We need to bring tractors and hay equipment and do things.
That'd be awesome.
And let those kids actually see a tractor cutting hay, rolling hay, raking it, tethering it, so they see that whole process.
Yeah.
He said, I'm willing to come out there and help you guys put that off, pull it off, and do something. And so it's a huge plus for us. And our whole drive, like I said, is for kids from every walk of life. You don't have to want to be a farmer. You don't have to want to be an ag guy or a farmer or a tree, or a chicken raiser or an egg producer. You can be anything you want at Camp Tyler. And we've got all of those possibilities.
Yeah, for sure.
Except for a computer.
Yeah, that's right. So, shifting gears a little bit, what does employment look like at Camp Tyler? You guys, you donate your time as president of the board, which is very, very commendable. What does it look like? So let's say that I want, maybe to get some exposure to what you guys do, whether that be a counselor or maybe a doer, where I'm out there transitioning maybe from fall to winter to spring, things like that. So
I'll let Kathy talk about the staff.
We have, we really have both. Right now we have a few volunteers, people who just are in the position to be able to come out, just either where they are in life right now, or they're trying to gain some work experience.
Resume builder.
Exactly. And nothing says that you can work together for a corporation better than I can work on a team, and I've worked at a summer camp or I've worked at a camp, because it instills so much good value in you. But most of our instructors are compensated, they are paid. And because of the training it takes, because not only do we fall under Texas Food Safety Act, and there's hoops you have to jump to do that, then we want Camp Tyler specific training in the field. So we take younger students even, and we start training them. We began a program with White House 8th graders through a certain life skill living skills group, and we started this very summer. I called it First Works. And so we went, I did the interview process, I gave them job descriptions, they had to do the interview, they had to come out to the camp and do a training, they had to shadow the kitchen staff when they came out, and they worked in the kitchen for our summer groups.
And these are 14-year-olds.
These are 14 is the lowest age that Texas will allow for a student to come in and work. And they got compensated. but along with it, they were required to work on their journals. So what we would say is, I would just go pick one of the C's and say, we're going to do cooperation today. I want in your journal, you write how you had to cooperate to make the meal, but not just make the meal happen, how you had to cooperate with our client who's here at Camp Tyler,
Right.
who when you talk to them or they ask you where the tea is or they ask you why the rolls are called, you want to be the best representative of Camp Tyler. So it teaches them to like incorporate that into their value system, how I'm going to be different when I'm going to care about you as my client, because I'm going to do everything I can to make sure your rolls are warmed and your tea spilled, because I care about you and I care that you're
motivated by more than one thing.
More than just a paycheck. And that's how we do with our instructors. And so like a lot of our instructors are new right now, and so they shadow with our
I think the other thing
kids.
it teaches to me is like it's a little bit more than just flicking a light on.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's serving
It's serving.
someone else.
You got to be willing to walk over and rub a pot-bellied pig, and then walk over and show somebody how to cook biscuits in a cast iron oven.
That's right. You multitask
all the time. And so, for Kathy's part, I think the struggle there is because of where we're at. We have a lot of staff, but we don't have a lot of full-time because we just can't. And we are a nonprofit camp, and we work on. We charge a very minimal fee to cover the staff. We don't really make a lot of money, so we depend on donations and volunteer help a lot to make things happen out there.
I understand.
And so
a lot of volunteers.
it's hard to get. Most people can't afford to just work 2 days a week or 3 days a week.
We have staff that are working in other areas of town, but they can work Tuesdays or Thursdays, or I want to work Monday, Wednesday.
Well, and I can see somebody that's maybe working, 30, 40 hours at a Starbucks. I'm just using that as an example. But they have a strong passion to give. And they have a strong passion because maybe they grew up on a farm. Or maybe they had always aspired, they lived in the city, but they always wanted to know more about that. And so here's an opportunity to work part-time with something that they're passionate about, and they win. It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
So they get engrossed in like this thing that they are passionate about, they want, and they learn every day, I'm sure, and they get to give back, and then they're compensated for it as well.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better than going out at the end of the day and kids hugging you.
Oh,
and saying, hey, we had a great time. And seeing that kid that wouldn't talk to anybody or wouldn't communicate.
Right.
And when he's leaving.
Oh yeah, with a smile
and he's had a smile on his face, and he's carrying his journey stick, and he's headed home.
Well, for me, it was always the parents. It was like, you had the parent that was maybe like very overprotective at first, and then they're like, oh my God, my kid grew in front of my eyes into a leader or into someone who was more team oriented, where maybe they were more combative at home with their siblings or whatever it is. And wow, we were arguing at the table last night, and today this is a different kid, and how that experience impacts them. It's just.
Kathy got more compliments with the staff when the parents would pick them up. The next one that brought them back, and so you couldn't believe they got in the car like chatty Cathy, and they're just talking.
And they didn't even ask for their
5 minutes later,
Game Boy. They didn't ask for their nothing.
And then 5 minutes later, they're sound asleep.
Yeah.
Because they were so tired from a whole day of activity.
Yeah.
The parents are like, I don't understand why y'all have 500 kids here every day. Like, this is the best kept secret in Tyler. I'm like, but we're purposefully morphing it into a bigger, but we want to be careful because we want to do it with integrity and we want to do it the right way. As we grow. So anyway, when a person calls and says, I want to work at Camp Tyler, I'm going, great, it's part-time random.
Yeah.
That's what your hours are, part-time random. And so like I want them to know right off the bat.
And nobody punches a time
as
clock.
needed,
Nobody, and I can tell you from experience with the staff, we don't want them to punch a time clock because everybody goes way over what they get paid.
Because they love it.
They don't turn in near the hours that they work.
Sure.
So
really, our paid staff also volunteer a lot of hours because it's more important to them that it happen and happen well.
Yeah.
Those guys show up at 7 o'clock in the morning. They may not check in till 9 or 10, and then they stay there till 6 or 7 in the evening, and their class is done. They're clocking out at 4. So every one of them. It's not just one. It's all of them.
Right.
Which makes me really proud because I feel like when we got handed Camp Tyler in 2008, I was there as a program director at that point, and we are continuing to carry, to me that's so much value, carry on what our forefathers started this place to be, and we're carrying it on. We're not selling out. Right. We're not selling out to program. We're not selling out to the fast booking, to 2,000 kids every, that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're not putting in a splash pad.
You're not putting COVID,
an outside playground, or anything like that.
No.
In your parking lot.
We have a playground. It's 350.
Yeah.
I'm saying a parking lot. In your parking lot. There's not a playground in your parking lot.
We don't have 25
that's where you go hang out with the next group.
So they had a free time at summer camp.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I pull up, and some of my grandkids are there, and some of the others, and these kids are creative now. They've learned.
Yeah.
They're playing stickball. They took masking tape and made a baseball.
Right.
And one of
they're
their
using
walking
their
sticks,
journey sticks.
and they're playing baseball in the backyard with handmade stuff.
Yeah.
That they made there, and they're having a wonderful time.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing there was store bought.
Right.
And so why y'all using
No
masking tape?
Yeah.
So why y'all using masking tape? Because it doesn't hurt if you don't catch it.
Right.
And
it stays together pretty good.
Yeah. Stick to you. You don't need a ball mitt. You're just
And as far as our staff and then our volunteer base, we do have a lot of volunteers that care about the camp and they come out. Never enough.
Right.
Especially when things go on like right now. But it's difficult because the children's safety is our main priority.
Yeah.
So when we do things at camp, everybody has to be background checked.
Yeah.
Or we have to do it on a day when kids are not there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, back in the day when I started, you could get 50 or 60 volunteers to show up on a Saturday to clean trails. You're lucky now to get, 15 or so.
Yeah.
And we did have some that, the White House Chamber.
Oh my
goodness.
Oh my goodness.
We got the Women's Fund donated the money to buy the bunk beds.
Yeah.
Now these are first class bunk beds. The Women's Fund of Tyler funded it. They gave us a grant to buy them all. We bought them for the 2 brand new cabins.
Yeah.
We reached it. You're talking about 32, 34, 36 bunk beds.
Wow.
Metal, heavy duty.
In each cabin.
All in cardboard boxes, one piece at a time.
Wow.
Like putting a swing set together.
Yeah.
No kidding.
It was like
And we called the chamber, and Ashley Westerfield
Yes,
said,
I can't say enough
"Let me
about
get some
White House
volunteers."
Chamber of Commerce.
Those guys came, even the mayor of White House
Yes.
Wow.
showed up, worked a whole Saturday.
And not just on bunk beds. They had chainsaws because we were still struggling with the tree.
Yeah,
thing,
they had crews
damage.
cutting down trees.
They cleared out buildings that we had just had become collectible of like years and years of just.
But they showed up in
easy.
force, worked, and they
They were
put bunk
amazing.
beds together. So we do get.
So you made them a lot of biscuits.
Oh yeah, they are our best friends.
They-
Made them lots of biscuits.
Yeah, they did us, and they're always there for us.
Yeah,
Very
that's awesome.
supportive. It's
Yeah.
been awesome. A great new partnership for us.
Yeah, so that was the next thing I had here was community connections. One of the things I wanted to mention was the East Texas Giving Day is on April 30th.
Right.
But that's a ways off. We know that you guys have a fundraiser coming up. But before we talk about that, talk a little bit about some of the partners that you guys have. I know you guys have a lot of sponsors that you want to recognize, but
Yeah.
we probably could do a whole show, like just and the people that help you guys.
Right.
Kind of
I
get
don't
things
want to
going.
leave anybody out, really, because because Camp Tyler was built for the community and community driven, and now my son was a brander, and now he's 40 something.
Right.
You know, so you have people coming back going, "Oh, I remember Camp Tyler. Great. What is your business? Great."
It doesn't matter where you go in Tyler, Texas.
Or no, in
If you say Camp
America.
Tyler, somebody in that group
Their eyes just like
light up.
I
and
know.
they know about
I
Camp
mentioned it today. I was in a couple of my locations, and I don't really talk much about the podcast because I don't want it to be all about me, or that, hey, look, I have a podcast. It's more about my guests. And so whenever I bring it up, I always talk about the guests. And so today I mentioned Camp Tyler. Out of the 4 people that were working there today, 3 of them were from Tyler and had been out to Camp Tyler.
Yeah.
And that was pretty shocking to me. I'm not from Tyler originally, but to have 3 of them of all different walks of life, all different nationalities, all, you know, different colors and creeds, all of them, 3 of them had been out and around the same time, you know, 5th and 6th grade type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's
So
incredible.
we get a lot of donors or funding and stuff because they go, okay, then you remember Camp Tyler, you know, it's your turn to bring something to the table, or like we'll call and say, okay, like our roof was destroyed. Who can like help us with our roofing? Because we're nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so like
And we have so
always,
many people that do that. And, you know, for us, the struggle is people, number one, we don't get any money from TISD. We don't get any taxpayer dollars.
which is a misconception in the community.
Yeah, we are not owned by TSD. We would love to have them
Yeah, we
come
love to
out.
have them come
We'd
out.
love to have them come out.
And we've made clear, no FEMA money either.
No
No
FEMA
FEMA
money. We don't get anything like that. So ours is strictly donors, and it doesn't matter. Some guys can't do. It's in all stages.
Right.
Some guys say, "Hey,
Yeah.
I can't do all this, but
Yeah.
I can do this."
Yeah, because
If
you
you buy
have
the
your
shingles-
you have your core donors that you have listed on your
Right.
on your webpage, and then you have a button that says, "Hey, look, we'll take any denomination you can give us."
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
yeah, it's like when we get hit by the storms. You know, the shingles, the roofs. You know.
Oh,
so
the
I can't
AC
do the whole
units,
thing.
the air conditioned units, the train, and like
AC
people
train. You know, we took down 2 of the older cabins on the lake and built new ones. 100% paid for by donor money.
Nice.
We raised every penny. They were extremely expensive. They're extremely nice. We're almost complete with them, but we couldn't have done it without some major donors and even just a lot of people donating what I call sweat equity.
Yeah.
I can't afford to do this.
Right.
But if you can get the shingles, I'll come put them on.
Yeah. Right.
If you can do this, I'll come do that for free.
Yeah.
You know, we had some really big donors. Train donated all of the air conditionings for 5 cabins.
Wow.
That's a huge thing. in
Yeah,
today's,
that's big.
The Fair Foundation, even though they're doing all of that for the medical field, the big donors, you know, where they're paying for all those doctors. The Fair Foundation gave us a really large donation for the new cabins. East Texas Woods and Waters gave us a large donation for the cabins and for our new swim dock a year or so ago.
Wow.
And we're equally proud of groups that come in, like from schools, like
the
All
Brook Hill
Saints,
School in
Brook
All
Hill.
Saints.
Can we come? We need service from it. Yes, please come, and they'll like clean up the whole trail from like terrible storm damage, or come and help us like assist with kids in program, which is always like huge for us.
Bridgemark
Come
comes out.
serve.
Bridgemark comes out. And they want to volunteer.
Clean the cabins, like it's
Clean the
just
cabins.
like it's not little though for us. It's
Yeah, it's
huge.
huge.
But
Yeah.
it goes back into reflecting our purpose.
Yeah.
Community built.
Yep.
Supported by the community, cared for by the community. It's just
Yeah.
like, and you could see like how it just keeps cycling over and over, and that's really a beautiful picture of who
It is
Tyler
for sure.
is.
For sure.
So that's what we're dependent
I
on.
was required to do community service as a senior and a junior.
Yeah.
And
A
it
Eagle
was
Scout.
it was awesome. Like
Yeah.
we would go and clean houses, and especially if somebody had passed away and the family didn't have the means, so we would go in and do that, or we would visit nursing home or whatever. But something like this, man, you put me on a trail and I can see birds and I can see all this wildlife and hang out outside and
Yeah.
you know, get to visit the wood duck
Yeah.
boxes. I mean, come on.
And just tap on the desk without getting in trouble. Can't do that in school. You
No, you're
get
right.
in trouble for jumping on the desk. in school.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
at Camp Tyler, we'll give you a stick.
Yeah, exactly.
To do it.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah,
share
we'll
it.
give you a stick.
So we got a phone call from the Eagle Scouts saying, hey, we need an Eagle Scout project.
Oh
And
yeah,
it turns
yeah.
into a wonderful
We are
project.
really, and that's a really big plus for us and for the Eagle Scouts.
Yeah.
We've had several recently that have come out and
Turned out
rebuilt
great products.
all great projects.
Great
Yeah.
project.
Built big signboards for us.
Where we can put our
covered
camp
roof
maps,
Yeah,
our
I bet.
maps up, and we've got.
They do enclosures too.
Oh yeah, we've got
sometimes.
a young guy that's coming to rebuild one of our bridges.
Yeah.
That it's actually on one of our main walking trails,
Yep.
but we have to have it accessible for a UTV or something in
Yeah.
case there's an accident.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
wheelchair.
We have to be able to get there, and the bridge has gotten in.
Yeah.
And once again, when you're talking about 2 young maintenance guys
Yeah.
on 350 acres,
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
lot
I
all the
bet.
time.
and so anytime these Eagle Scouts or schools show up to do community service, the All Saints second graders come out, and you wouldn't think this is a big deal.
Oh, it's a big deal.
They absolutely love it, but they're coming to pick up pecans,
Hey.
and they pick them up by the 5-gallon buckets here, so that we have all our pecans picked up.
Look, I'm 6 foot. They're what?
Oh, I'm
2
telling
foot?
you.
It's a lot
Yeah.
closer to the ground.
Yeah, it's
That
like
saves
one
my
of-
back.
yeah, the 2 things we.
'Cause I'm using a roller, baby.
Yeah, the 2 things that we learned about the younger ones like that is
They're eager to serve.
they're eager to serve.
Yeah.
They love to pick up pecans.
They got a lot of energy.
And they love to pull weeds, and they're close to
Oh,
both.
cool weeds. They're close to those weeds.
They got a lot of energy too.
Yeah,
Until
exactly.
they're out of energy.
Yeah.
They're out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we've talked about a lot of great stuff, and I always like to end our podcast with some shout outs. So I know that I kind of prepped you for this part, and I know that you guys don't want to leave anybody out. And I don't think anybody's going to hold it against you.
Right.
Like we know that when you say you appreciate your team and all your staff, that is comprehensive. And that also means anyone who has been to Camp Tyler and that has been an impact to Camp Tyler, and that may include teachers, and that includes the people that work, the staff, the people that donate time, all that good stuff. I understand that's collaborative. Everybody would be understanding of that. I think they would be.
Yeah.
But I'd ask you, like, for mentorship, or maybe somebody who you think that maybe kind of goes under the radar, that you may want to give a shout out to. And I understand it's an uncomfortable moment because there's a lot of people involved, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to just recognize a department, or maybe there's something that's been developed recently that you're like, you know what, we talked about the 2 younger guys
Right.
earlier that have made a big impact, and I just wanted you to use their names so that way they understood, like,
Right.
hey man, you're impacted, you impacted us in a positive way, and we recognize your hard work. I'll start with you. You're the president, so
You can start with me because
Got it.
I have to say it as a group though. I cannot say enough good things about our board. I have worked with people,
Yeah.
supervisors in different camp scenarios all my life, and I've never seen a board so driven. And really, I have to give it mostly to Bud and Sonny Worthen and Robert Terry and Karen and David Lamford. We have more board members, but they are the driving force. And I tell everybody, first day I met Ashley Westerfield, I have never worked for a board so driven and so passionate to make Camp Tyler be what it needs to be for this community again.
Yeah.
And like they are relentless. They connect with the community, relentless. And then the other 2 people, I'll say their names. I love my staff. I love every single instructor. They give their all, but Angela Connor and Courtney Walker, they give it all out there every day, everything they have on my instructor staff. And then once again, I have to say Devin and Jackson get it every day. Like I can call something, they are always, yes ma'am, yes we'll get it taken care of, we'll do it. They never are like, are you kidding me? You want us to do what? But honestly, if it wasn't for our board, we would never be where we are right now. And I say I'm just so humbled to be able to work with this caliber of board that I get to work for them.
Dang, that's going to be hard to beat, bud.
Well, but it's right back at them, because it would not have survived through COVID and everything else. And I don't use that as a crutch. Yeah. I use it as a stepping stone for everything we've achieved at the camp. But without Kathy and her staff and the ups and downs and they're relentless, just like the board. Yeah. We take everything in stride. We understand it's an old camp, nothing there. Everything breaks at the worst time. Right. It breaks, but we figure it out. We get a way to fix it, and the staff is always stepping up. They're always creative. You can see their passion not only for the camp but for the kids. They truly love what they do. Yeah. And they love every kid that comes through there. Yeah, and they want them all to take something home that they didn't have when they came there. And that's a big part of the staff. And then like Devin and Jackson, these guys, they're young. They're in that mode where people say, you just don't get anything out of these young people.
Yeah, right.
But they have taken ownership of the camp. When they started, I said, guys, this is part of your camp. Yeah. You got to take pride in it. So now, instead of having to make a list every single day, they look for things that need to be fixed. Right. And you can call them and they can say, oh, well, we're up here in the North Woods. Huge tree blew down on the Flying V, which is part of our low road. And they're up there cutting it up and they're cleaning it up and they're dressing it back up because they realize that's an important part of our program.
Because they're going through the trails and going, hey, this is a liability. Right. Yes. And so we need to fix this right now. And nobody needs to tell me that it needs to be done.
So those guys are learning. And then the board, like every board, you've got to mesh, you've got to bond, you've got to learn to be like the staff. Yeah. And we've learned a lot from the staff. Yeah. Seeing how they come together has made us come together. And, my wife, Sunny, she can tell you, she's a good woman because I spend a lot of time at camp just out of necessity. Yeah. And I go out there and I say, I'm going to be there an hour. And it winds up being 3 or 4 because things just keep popping up. Sure. Water leaks or something's always an issue. Fixing a toilet. And there's some things that I'm still teaching those young guys and they're learning.
Yeah, for sure.
But, the board has been good. They're solid. They help us. They all come together.
It's kind of like if you don't stay passionate about Camp Tyler, you're not going to last anyway. Yeah. You're going to go on to something else. You're there because you love it and you believe in what it does.
From what I found about things is that when you have challenges and when things break, it stinks at that moment. But without those things, you don't have the same amount of bond.
Learning opportunity.
Well, because look, there's an opportunity to learn, and then there's a lot of, what is the saying, where you learn the most about someone when they're backed against a corner, right? And so when you have those challenges and frustrations and stuff like that, how are they going to lash out? Are they going to be frustrated? Are they going to throw their food or whatever it is? I mean, however they cope with that challenge is kind of how you learn about who they are, right? Yeah. And so it's fine. You can vent all you want, but there's got to be a moment where you move on and go, this is no more, right?
And we've all learned, and we've all realized we can learn regardless of our age or our youth. We can all teach each other something. Even Jackson and Devin come up with things. It's like, that's probably easier than the way my granddad showed me to do it.
Right.
And unfortunately, I mean, we're like water leaks. That's a huge issue. We got miles of water lines
Yeah, for
and
sure.
things all
Yeah.
over. And-
Snowmageddon was not concrete.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and we fix them, and we.
So again, COVID, the whole thing.
No,
And we don't have,
Abandoned.
we're not fortunate enough yet to have a backhoe.
Yeah,
So our pipes are 3 to 4 foot deep,
yeah,
and we're post hole diggers and shovels. And
Yeah,
those young
for
guys
sure.
have learned, and a hand pump.
yeah.
I mean, literally a hand pump. And we pump about, we fix them, and we move on. So it's a learning experience, and it's a pleasure to be able to learn
That's cool.
all the things we learn from each other.
Well, as you're talking, I'll give a shout out to my grandparents because I got exposed to a lot of these things, and that's awesome. Unfortunately, they're not here, but I'm here through them,
Right.
and learned a ton, pitching washers and growing vegetables, and thankfully I had one that had a ranch, and so I was driving when I was 10
Right.
on a phone book
Yeah.
with a stick on my shoe. With a stick on my shoe. And a stick on my shoe.
Yeah.
And I got the I hit a tree or two that I didn't tell them about.
Yeah.
But I mean, you learned, and then you came back and you said, "Hey, look, there was a thing here," and I shot rabbits and all those things, and it was awesome. I mean, not everybody gets that kind of exposure. And then later on, a lot of exposure to lakes and birds and stuff like that. So
Right.
true appreciation that a lot of people don't get.
Right, and that's what we want. Is
Yeah.
We don't want those
That's what you
people
want.
to not have ever had that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they can actually get it at Camp Tyler.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They literally can.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank
the podcast.
you.
Yeah, it's been a great
Yeah.
opportunity to talk about what you guys do, what you're passionate about, and all the cool things that you guys offer the community. I think that a lot of people know about it, but then they don't remember to,
Right.
hey, look, let's
To support them.
figure a way out to support, get back down there.
And be a part of it.
Eventually it's going to be generational because the kids are going to go back, they're going to come talk about it. But it's a great thing to have come back up through this new means of communication, right? So
Yeah.
it'll be something that will push towards a viral stage and kind of how social media is happening and all that good stuff. So it was awesome having you guys on.
Thanks.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
We really had a great.
Very cool. All right, so we're going to transition quite a bit on that's what's so great about this podcast. We support nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and people that are doing things in the community that don't go unnoticed. So our next guest is going to be someone who specializes in car dealerships. So he has been on the sales side of things, he's been on the service side of things, and he's also been on the trade-in and trade-out. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about some key words that we need to listen for, and also kind of some of the things that may happen that some dealerships may not want to know about. But anyway, stay tuned for the next time. See you later.